What's going on, guys? Jay the Black here. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. Make sure y'all like this video and share it because we're going to talk about common sense. We're going to talk about delusion. We're going to talk about people who are on very weird time, right? So I want to talk about RG3. Now, Ryan Clark was trending, right? And, you know, you have the trending tab. You'll have a name, and you have a sub name, right? So I saw that Ryan Clark was trending, and I saw, I think, RG3, right? So I click on it, and I go and I see what's going on with this Negro. Apparently, he had a back and forth with RG3. Apparently, it all started with the whole Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. Y'all know that, you know, they had that dust up between Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky. Angel Reese took a hard foul after she had fouled someone else, because that's what Angel Reese does. Now, I have nothing against Angel Reese. I just think that she is a very over emotional when it comes to Caitlin Clark. And, you know, I think that she was just frustrated because they were losing badly to the Indiana Fever. And she got that foul from Caitlin Clark and she lost her mind. You know, the interesting thing about that is that Angel Reese is a very interesting case, because just last WNBA season, right, she took a hard foul in the game, right, a very hard foul, probably a harder foul than she took that Caitlin Clark gave her in the most recent game. She took a hard foul in the game last in WNBA season, and she, after the game, she talked about how it's just basketball and it's nothing personal. She was kind of smiling about it, right? You know, it was no big deal. But for her to get fouled by Caitlin Clark and for her to get up and to want to fight, it just shows you how even, 2 years removed almost from playing each other in college, well, maybe about a year or so, you count it up, a year or so, removed from playing against each other in college, Angel Reese is still bitter. Whatever animus she has towards Caitlin Clark, she needs to let it go. I'm just going to say that. She was okay with the hard fouls last season. She's out there fouling people. She actually gave Caitlin Clark a hard foul last season. Caitlin Clark didn't get up to fight, right? I just think that Angel Reese just doesn't like the fact that Caitlin Clark is a draw and people are drawn to her, even though she's just a plain white girl, right? And Angel goes out of her way to show everybody that she's sexy, right? And still people, you know, or whatever, right? But she does have a couple of these males willing to crash out in order to appease her, like Ryan Clark. Now, I have nothing against Ryan Clark. I just think that the guy tries to overly prove how black he is. Ryan, we know you're black, okay, Ryan? We know you're black. You don't have to keep telling us how black you are. Well, we understand that's what goes on at ESPN. And I think that we finally know why. I think we finally know why Robert Griffin got fired. I think there were people there plotting on him. I really do. I think there were people at ESPN that were plotting on Robert Griffin. Now we know why he got fired, you know, a year into his 2-year deal with ESPN. He wasn't doing necessarily a bad job. I don't feel like they've missed him, but I don't think he was that big of a problem, because he would also do play-by-play, right? I don't think he was that big of an issue for them to have fired him, right? But now I think, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Ryan Clark went to ESPN and say, yeah, we don't need this guy. But we gonna get into what this Negro had to say about Robert Griffin III and his wife. You know, he tried to be clever, and I'm talking about Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark tried to be clever and speak about Robert Griffin's wife, right? We know that Robert Griffin is married to a white woman. We know this because Ryan Clark made sure when he was on the Pivot podcast to let us know that in a roundabout way, you know, the reason why RG3 is calling out Angel Reese is because he has a white wife. And Robert Griffin decided to respond. Not only did he respond, Ryan Clark, put up this post too because he got. He realized that he made a fool of himself. When you start bringing people's wives into it, that's a problem because Robert could bring your wife into it, but he didn't do that, did he? This is my problem with you pro-blacks on TV. You get on there and you make a complete fool of yourself. You want to call out racism, but you will personally attack another black person to prove your point. I have no dog in this fight. Let me just say this. I have no dog in this fight. I'm not on this person's team or that person's team. I'm pointing out how stupid this is. Robert doesn't work for ESPN anymore. He has his own platform. So therefore, he's going to speak his mind. And he feels like Angel Reese doesn't like Caitlin Clark. In his words, he feels like Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark, and I agree. Because how is it that you take a foul and you want to get up and start fighting and you're cussing, right? You're pulling your jersey out of your shorts like you ready to fight or strip or whatever she was trying to do. You know what I'm saying? He does hate Caitlin Clark. That's no secret. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. Robert wasn't lying, and it ain't because he has a white wife. But I don't know if Ryan Clark is jealous of that. But he clearly has he's had some issues with Robert. Might be going back to when they were both teammates with each other, because he said that Robert Griffin was a bad teammate. Oh, so you say this now? Why didn't you say this before? So let's get into Robert's response, and then we're going to get into Ryan Clark's long-winded response. Okay.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy RG3, and I just wanted to get on here and talk to you guys because there's been a lot of buzz, a lot of conversations about my sports take that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark, which was purely based in basketball. But I think all of you know there's a line in life that you just simply don't cross. Wives and children are always off limits, and Ryan Clark has sprinted past that line. Ryan Clark didn't like my sports take that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark, and that's fine. It's okay. It's part of the game. Sports media, I'm gonna have an opinion. This person might not agree with it. That person might not agree with it. But what you don't do is turn around and personally attack me and my family just because you don't agree with a sports opinion that is purely based off the sport. I didn't make it personal, but what that really shows is just how low of a person Ryan Clark is. But Ryan, you crossed the line, man. You made it personal and some. I really believe there should be no space in sports media for personal attacks. I've said it before. But certainly personal attacks against wife and children have always been off limits. Brian, you attacked me and my family in a public forum on a level that shows just how low of a human being you are. You can disagree with me all you want. Challenge my takes, but keep my family and my wife out of it.
So, and that's most of the video up, but I want to get into commentary because the sound on the video is a little bit low. But he was speaking on why Ryan Clark is bringing his wife up. Because, I think I've seen where Robert has his wife in the background when he does videos or he does podcasts or whatever he's doing, right? Which, that's his wife. If she wants to be there, she can be there. And Ryan Clark, again, in a roundabout way, he pointed that out, how she was in the background clapping. He talked about how his wife he met his wife had, and she deserves to be known more for her skin tone. Like, why even bring his wife up at all, Ryan? Nobody brings up your wife. Nobody's bringing up your wife, Ryan. Nobody's talking about your wife, and And in this discussion, Robert's not bringing up your wife. Nobody's bringing up your wife. But here you go getting personal. It don't matter if you felt like you were bigging her up. That's not what you were doing. You basically were saying that Robert worships white women. That's what you basically were saying. He worships white women, and the only reason why he is going at Angel Reese is because she's a black woman and he doesn't know what it's like to speak to a black woman and do. I mean, isn't his mother black? I'm pretty sure he has a black grandmother, black aunts. I don't know his siblings. Maybe he has I don't know. He probably has black female cousins, black women he's grown up around. So for you to say that, say that about Robert, Ryan, you're being disingenuous. You're being very disingenuous, and you are putting this narrative out here because you want to show how pro-black you are. Ryan, nobody cares. You were able to blackmail ESPN into giving you a contract extension because you were ready to pull the race card. You were already starting to pull the race card. You make a fool of yourself on TV constantly. You make a fool of yourself when you do these interviews. Then you do an interview with somebody recently made a fool of yourself. So I just think that you are upset at Robert for something that probably happened years ago when you were teammates, right? And you've carried that. Don't take that from me. Let's look at what Ryan Clark had to say. Hold on. I'm gonna finish a little bit more of this, and I'm gonna show you what Ryan Clark had to say.
That's a boundary that should always be respected, man. Always. Ryan Clark personally attacking me and my family because he disagreed with my sports opinion is a bad look for ESPN. It's cowardly, it's spineless, and it's weak. Ryan Clark personally attacking me and my family. Personally because he disagreed with my sports opinion.
And he keeps saying that over and over to emphasize that. By the way, I want to point this out. This tweet has 22 million views. Y'all see that? 22 million views right there. Look at that. So this video has gone viral. The one thing I can say about Robert, he knows how to go viral. 22 million views. That is why Ryan Clark had to come back like this and basically showed that he's always disliked Robert. So let's look at what Ryan had to say. Bruh, you know what it is with me and you. I saved you the entire season on Monday Night Football. I urge people to let you be. No matter how corny, how bad a teammate you were, I had your back. Why? What did you do? Invite someone on your show you know I don't fool with to ask questions about me and then hit me weeks later to tell me you're going to challenge one of my takes. You're a phony, bro. One of the worst teammates I ever had, both on the field and in TV. You got to do what you got to do. I didn't attack your wife. I spoke on what you do on social media and TV. Like I said, I met your wife. She seemed like a lovely lady that was worth more than the color of her skin. You be good, bro. So Ryan Clark basically exposed that he's always had an axe to grind with Robert. You say Robert was a bad teammate. You say Robert not only was a bad teammate on the field, but off the field as well with ESPN. You've never liked him. And the first chance you probably got to throw him under the bus, you did it, Ryan. Because Ryan always tries to make himself seem like he's the good guy. Always. But Ryan is very disingenuous. He's very sneaky. Okay? And he's for self. How many black people have come through, other black players have come through ESPN, and never probably had to deal with the level of hater that Ryan Clark seems to be in regards to Robert Griffin. I don't even think it has anything to do with his wife, or I don't even think it has anything to do with Angel Reese. I think it has more to do with the fact that Ryan just doesn't like Robert for whatever reason. He just doesn't like him. maybe he wants a white wife. Because I told y'all about these pro-blacks. A lot of them be wanting white women, but be on here capping, right? You know, he met Robert Wipes once, and he was like, because why are you mentioning her at all, man? Like, listen, if you had criticism for Robert, I wouldn't even be making this video. I'm making this video because, bro, it's hella weird how you correlate his criticism with who his wife is. There's plenty of black men who I'm sure you're cool with, Ryan, who have white wives. Ryan, how many of your football friends have white wives? Your black buddies that have white wives. You don't think that they're watching this and they're looking at themselves and saying, is he talking about me? Because I'm pretty sure, Ryan, you got friends who have white wives or non-black wives. And I'm sure they're thinking to themselves, you know, he could be talking about me too. So that's why I say, man, a lot of this is very disingenuous. You're using Robert's white wife to attack him because you don't like the fact that he said something about Angel Reese. Who cares, man? This is sports. People have a right to have an opinion. I've disagreed with Robert. There are things I have vehemently disagreed with Robert with, because he used to be on that. He used to be like very pro-black and all this, and you know, he was on that. He was sipping that ESPN Kool-Aid, but you know, he seems to be, you know, being more of himself now that he's no longer with the worldwide leader. And Ryan is out here probably destroying friendships when he don't even think he is. Only a dumb person would look at this and say he wasn't talking about that man. Yes, why would you mention her then? What if Robert mentioned your wife, Ryan? You'd be ready to fight. If Robert Griffin mentioned your wife, Ryan, you'd want to fight him. So let me know what y'all think in the comments section. Let me know if you like the video and share. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I'll see y'all next one.